It looks awful.
That's because it's on you, dear.
For better or for worse, the Disney dynasty marches on, granting us dozens of timeless classics, and also Wreck-It Ralph too. Love them or hate them, each of these movies is made with love, and that love will often go unnoticed. Unless you're a diehard fan, because boy do they notice the little things, here are 13 small details you never noticed in Disney animated movies. I'm Joey C. Let's go!
Crazy.
Not a lot of people talk about Meet the Robinsons, the second ever 3D animated Disney movie that wasn't made by Pixar. It also has a heartwarming message about letting go of the past and working towards the future that you can have. However, despite embodying that mantra better than anyone else in the film, it's clear that even Lewis had trouble letting go. A Reddit user pointed out that in the background of Lewis's room of failed inventions, we can see characters that were intended to be in the films My Peoples and Wildlife, two scrapped films that never saw the light of day for various reasons. My People was ultimately canceled in favor of Disney's Chicken Little in 2005, and Wildlife was axed in 1999 due to its mature content, particularly one joke that I won't mention here. Sorry to disappoint. It's unfortunate that there's so little information on either one of these films, but we've got to be like Lewis and keep moving forward. Moana may have given birth to some of the best Disney memes of the past decade, although that might be coming from my bias for Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson as Maui. Funny enough though, this Easter egg is all about family. In an early scene where a villager greets Moana's family, they tell her parents, "She's doing great."
Thanks, Moana. She's doing great.
What's funny about this is that the villager in question is voiced by the real-life mom of Mona's voice actor, Poinani Cravalho. It's a sweet nod to her actual daughter, whom she praises in the movie. What else can I say besides, thanks? From Quentin Tarantino to Jonan Vasquez, creators appearing in their work is a tale as old as film itself. And the Disney Renaissance was no stranger to this tradition. 1998's classic, Mulan has embedded itself in the hearts of millions with its themes of independence, strength, and rejection of tradition. The film is insanely quotable, and the music is stuck in our hearts. Be real, you've been humming "I'll Make a Man Out of You" this whole time. Despite how many times you've rewatched the movie, I wonder if you've ever noticed that towards the climax, the two men handling the fireworks are actually caricatures of directors Barry Cook and Tony Bancroft. Everyone remembers King Candy as the delightful twist villain of 2012's Wreck-It Ralph, which was the best video game movie since the live-action Super Mario Bros. Movie. Although King Candy isn't the only villain in the movie. And no, I'm not talking about Bowser, or Satan, or Sonic. No, I'm talking about Beard Papa, the happy little gnome who works as a security guard for Sugar Rush's Cart Bakery. Thankfully, he's too busy sleeping on the job to gatekeep our heroes from driving off course. But if you take a closer look, you'll see that his design is based on the mascot for Beard Papa, a chain of cream puff stores. According to Beard Papa's website, the chain has been around since 1999 and sells the best cream puffs around. Shout out to Reddit user Tara Claire for pointing this out. We hope you get a lifetime supply of cream puffs for that discovery.
Alright, that's it. Dishonor on your whole family.
Reminding our viewers that Frozen exists is either going to bring a smile to your face or your mouse cursor to another tab. But instead of clicking off this video, how about we appreciate some subtle storytelling? Elsa's journey resonates with so many people. A woman who is taught to hide what makes her special, only to ultimately embrace it. Her ice powers are initially seen as an evil force, but it turns out that they can be a natural expression of love. And much like love, the ice powers are a completely natural thing. That's evident through how Elsa is the only person in either movie whose breath doesn't condense into mist when it comes into contact with the cold air. Elsa may be as cold as ice, but love isn't something she's willing to sacrifice. You think a movie titled 101 Dalmatians would only restrict itself to 101 Dalmatians. But no, even the title of the animated Disney movie aimed at children will lie to its audience. In the movie, one of the many adorable scenes featuring dogs barking is actually a plot point. As the dogs realize that puppies are going to be dog-napped, they bark across the neighborhood, alerting each other in some kind of secret code. And who else could be there, other than our favorite fluffy power couple, Lady and Jock from Lady and the Tramp? Although they're not in their own movie, it's still a nice inclusion. At least they're not barking up the wrong tree.
Pull the lever, Kronk.
We're all pretty familiar with the trend of Disney animators slipping in a hidden Mickey in each of their films. Some of the hidden Mickeys are more subtle than you think. Beauty and the Beast might have one of the most subtle hidden Mickeys in the company's history. It's definitely harder to find unless you're actively looking for it. And it's woven into the architect of the Beast library, right underneath the ceiling. You know, I wonder if this repeated Easter egg is just Mickey Mouse marking every movie under the Walt Disney Corporation as his own private property. It's no question that Hercules is an absolute classic, and part of why it's so loved is because of its insane attention to detail. The film is littered with delightful nods to Greek mythology, and even the science of the times. When the fates tell Hades how his window of opportunity will only appear when the planets align, we only see 6: Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. And that is simply because those are the only planets that Greek astrologists could see at the time. Considering that Hades' plan ultimately failed, I guess you could say it was a little short-sighted.
Who wants to trade?
There is no trading.
Atlantis is almost universally claimed as the true underrated classic of the Disney dynasty. It's a standout, from a wonderful cast of characters to the inspired world building. There's always something new to enjoy upon revisiting it, and fans of Star Trek might have a new one today. One of the many reasons the Atlantean civilization feels so advanced and otherworldly is because their language was developed by a guy who made his mark developing languages of advanced alien species, Mark Okrand. For those of you that don't know, Mark is the creator of Star Trek's Klingon language. This is oddly fitting, considering that the Atlantean language is supposed to be the root of all human languages on Earth. And there's an ironic beauty to that. Mankind has become so separate from the root of its civilization that its origin point is utterly alien to us. It fits pretty well considering the villain of the movie possesses a fundamental misunderstanding of Atlantean culture. The idolization of the source of their life force ultimately dehumanizes himself. Man, this movie's great. Why haven't they made a world out of it in Kingdom Hearts yet?
My eyes can see straight through your armor.
It feels like people don't talk about Zootopia enough. And maybe I'm just on the wrong part of the internet. Or maybe the right part, come to think. Anyways, apart from its delightful cast of characters, one of the reasons Zootopia is so great is because of the world building and how it plays into Judy Hopps' journey of becoming who she wants to be, regardless if that's what would fit her species. While Judy's journey is an absolute inspiration, it's still funny to see certain animals fall right where you'd expect, particularly in the various news anchors we see in the movie. The lead anchor of CNN is Growly, a snow leopard that we see on the left in every news scene. Other anchors from various countries also come onto the show to deliver some alternative animal facts. We got a moose in the UK by the name of Moosos. Australia has a koala bear named Koala Bell. Brazil has a jaguar. China has a nameless panda. And America by another moose named Peter Moosebridge. You know, if this movie came out 2 years later, I have a sneaking suspicion that America's anchor would have been a fox. Alright, we've got to talk about Wreck-It Ralph 2. The sequel everybody wanted but didn't deserve still has some creative juices flowing through its series of tubes. And they're worth pointing out. Pretty much the all-agreed high point of the film is when the story takes us to Oh My Disney, an actual website that hosts all kinds of content for Disney fans. This is the point where the film can delight its viewers with dozens of cameos from each branch of the Disney tree, even letting the writers mock the tired tropes that have plagued their film for decades. But we're not here to dissect the funniest scene in the movie. We're here to talk about real estate. When we first see the movie's representation of Oh My Disney, we see a virtual Disney castle surrounded by cheap motels. This is exactly what happened to the real Disneyland after its initial opening, leading him to purchase lucrative amounts of land around the project. Disney World. I think it's safe to say the plan paid off. Have you ever thought about what you'd have to turn into if you were one of the servants in Beauty and the Beast? No? Just me? Well, someone put a lot of thought into what the Beast's dog would turn into, and that's a footstool. Initially, that seems kind of demeaning, but perhaps that was the intent. But it makes sense from a wordplay perspective. And really, isn't that the most important one? The dog's name was originally Sultan, and while one might think it's a reference to Aladdin, it's important to remember that a synonym for footstool is Ottoman. And what is the ruler of the Ottoman Empire referred to as? A sultan. No, seriously though, if it was me, I'd probably be a grill or something, if they even had grills.
Sneaky son of a...
Watch it. you're in a church.
What's there to say about the song that hasn't already been said? It gave us butterflies and likely gave several guys unrealistic expectations on how to sweep a girl off their feet. One thing you might have missed while singing along, for the 8th billionth time, is that Aladdin and Jasmine fly by an oddly familiar Greek temple. Although it's only familiar in hindsight, as Hercules came out 5 years after Aladdin. Although the threads of fate may be woven tighter than you may think. Both films share the duo of directors, John Musker and Ron Clemens. Ladies and gentlemen and everybody else in between, much like a final music number, you made it to the end of the video. What did you think of these discoveries? Did we miss anything that you noticed? Let us know in the comments below, and as always everybody, thanks for watching.